Good morning.
Morning, how you doing?
Good. I cannot get this thing. There we go. Ugh. I don't know if you can see the Zoom thing, but sometimes it gets in the way of my window and I'm like, I can't see what I'm doing.
Just
Right. And what today we are on the topic of cold and flu, and our product is, pull that up. Oh, shoot. I only have the internet on one device at a time. So I was like trying to find something on my phone, and I can't use my phone. I can only use my computer. Right. Hey, Lisa. What's going on stateside? Fill me in. What's the deets?
We have a blizzard, and so I just got in from shoveling. So in just a minute, I'm going to turn off my camera so I can get my lighting set up a little bit better. Where are you at today, Sadie?
I'm out to sea today.
Okay. All right. I will be back on camera in just a minute.
Sounds good. We're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I think we're passing Cabo.
Oh, no big deal. Just passing Cabo. How cool. That is so fun.
I was trying to find somewhere cool on the boat to hold this meeting, but I realized my computer needed to be plugged in because it was not very high on battery, so I didn't know if it would make it the whole time. So
yeah.
Came back to the room here.
So Sadie, what is Amaral for?
Amaral?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. What is it in?
It's a new medication my doctor prescribed yesterday.
Amaral?
Yeah.
That might be for ADHD.
No, that's not with ADHD.
How do you spell it?
Amaryl. It's a generic, of course.
Yes, and I'm trying to look it up on my phone. Why is Google showing everything in Spanish? Okay, it's glympyride. So that it helps regulate your blood sugar. Did he take you off metformin?
Okay. No, it kept me on it.
Okay. We can talk about that a little bit later. That's, every medication has different names, but it looks like it's, I don't know if it's glimepiride or glympyride, but that should help with that.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Oh,
Right. Any other wins this week? Anything else good going on?
not really. I have a networking event that I'm going to today, so going. And then I should have an enrollment. She's gonna place an order in the next couple of days. I talked to her yesterday.
Nice. So, everything has been fun and good here on the ship.
I can tell. I see your videos, but you
Yeah.
didn't escape Starbucks. It doesn't sound like.
I had it twice, and then yesterday I had a local coffee that was pretty good. Actually,
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of research because like there's downtime, obviously, and I think I think I'm gonna give up caffeine. Like I've I've battled with this for a long time. I've always like stood my ground with caffeine, like because there is a lot of good benefits to it. There's a lot of
Yeah.
benefits excuse me, to coffee and things like that. Of course, a lot of our products have caffeine in it, and I don't think I'm going to go completely, zero. Because I love my nootropic and I love,
Yeah.
our stuff
But
that,
like coffee itself, yeah, I've actually stopped drinking coffee in the last couple of weeks, and I feel better on another thing that with everything else I'm doing is just like if because I do have an energy drink that I drink that's a green tea extract versus caffeine,
Mhm.
and it just gives me I don't feel like you don't have those highs and lows from coffee like you do with
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, I was reading up how it can affect like hormones like progesterone and estrogen and things like that, which men have progesterone and estrogen. Like
Yeah,
we have testosterone, we all have these different levels. And um, there's a lot of things that can affect those types of hormones in our body. And we talked about hormones a couple weeks ago on our call, but like everything from fragrances. So if you use a certain air freshener in your house can affect your hormones, cleaning products can affect your hormones, things like that. But caffeine seems to be one that shows up a lot specifically with
yeah,
that hormones. And so those hormones specifically. So I think, um, I mean, we've always heard about how great green tea is. I don't even know if there's anything bad about green tea, and
yeah,
our caffeine products like e-shots and Bias and stuff like that are all really good for you too.
yeah,
My problem is I end up having just so much. Like if I have Bias in the house, I have a Bia and I have coffee and I have, like
yeah.
multiple things, sometimes
There's
teas.
one thing that needs to go,
Yeah,
basically.
I overdo it. Yeah. And so I think I have a lot of good natural teas at home that I'm just not been drinking lately. So I think I'm just gonna swap over to those, and it'll take probably a few weeks to like kind of get back to normal. Anytime I've ever done that like cold turkey, no coffee, only tea thing, it always like goes bad. But this time I think I'm just in a different space. So
Exactly.
yeah. So we'll
Also, like
see.
my parents, they've given up coffee. They've had to. And, as you get older, a lot of health issues and everything else, it's doctors recommending them not having coffee at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it just agitates a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it does. I don't know, keep you guys updated. Maybe I'll do like a social media series on it or something, like how my body feels or
Hmm.
what I go through, but that's kind of my deal. Anybody else have any other wins or anything else they want to talk about this week?
I see Sarah's popped on. How's Sarah feeling? How you feeling, Sarah?
I'm a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You've had that cold for a long time, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't know. Now it's just my voice. It just seems won't come back fully.
Hmm.
Drinking all the tea and warm water and all of it, honey. It still hasn't come back 100% yet.
I swear, like it's a loaded subject that we're talking about today with cold and flu because and we have a special guest tonight. He couldn't come on in the morning, so it'll be interesting to hear his take on everything. And just me speaking on it today, like my son is sick every other week. It's like I wish that there was some magic that we could do. It's a little bit easier to control older kids and adults and stuff when it comes to like avoiding illness and things like that. Kids, kids are gonna touch, lick everything, put everything in their mouth, this and that. And then of course they're in daycare where everybody's sick and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to just share with you the things that I've found that will help just build your immune system and keep you a little bit more on the healthier side as best as possible. And then we're going to talk about our immune shake booster today. And so, does anybody have a story or anything they want to share related to being sick today in the leader spotlight section? Otherwise,
Not really.
so let me think.
Luckily, I don't get sick too often, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So do you have your appendix? Or did you
Me?
get that taken out? Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my husband had his appendix out when he was like 13. It was like over Christmas or something like that, like traumatic, because when you're that age and you have to go to the hospital over Christmas to get your appendix out, big deal. And so he never gets sick. He's very, very, very rarely sick. I mean, he's had a few colds since I've met him, but just very, very rare. And I've had this theory. I'm like, I wonder if it's because he had his appendix out when he was a kid. So our appendix is an organ that there's still not a lot of understanding what it does. There are, just like in everything, there is a group of people out there that is very anti removal of anything in our body. Don't remove your wisdom teeth, don't remove your appendix, don't remove anything, and they think that they can heal everything no matter what. But basically what happens with people with their appendix is that it gets inflamed. It's this little tiny like oval shaped appendage that hangs off of your intestine, and it's thought to have something to do with your immune system. But I have these theories in my head sometimes, and like I've never really looked very hard either, but I've never found any research articles or anything like that. But I'm always like, man, like I wonder if that has anything to do with Brad not ever getting sick. But when I was in college, I remember, I don't know if it was microbiology or anatomy and physiology or something like that, when my whole world like clicked. You know how if somebody gets sick a lot, we say they have a weak immune system. It's actually
Yeah.
they actually have a very strong immune system. In fact, their immune system is so strong that it thinks everything requires a full on cold symptom process. So they pick up on every little invader. And normally our body can say, hey, look, this is a cold, bacteria, virus, whatever the case may be. Let's get, flush it out through our lymph system, let's just work it through and move on with our life. In people who have a really, really high immune system that's overly functioning, it's going to panic every single time it gets sick.
Yeah.
But that is basically where Miles is at right now. Like he panics every time there's like the tiniest little invader. He is just like, let's go into coughing, sneezing, fever. Kids who get fevers really fast and really furious, that's their body's mechanism that it thinks it needs to do in order to just blast everything out. And so that's kind of what's been funny about our family dynamic. When my daughter was little and I was in nursing school, we were sick every other week, passing it back and forth. She was getting it from school, I was getting it from school and nursing school. In the hospitals, like we were just like boom, 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 boom. In my senior year of nursing school, Brad was living 4 hours away because he had already gotten orders to go on to his next duty station. And so he got sick a little bit more often when he was a drill sergeant, because these young privates, these young recruits were coming from all over the country and bringing all of their germs from every which state that they came, and they were packed in like sardines. And so Brad being around that got sick a little bit more often than not, but it still wasn't even really that bad. So
I
now that,
think going, yeah.
okay.
I think going back, I was thinking about it, is that when I was in my early 20s, the biggest sickness that I ever had, I had hepatitis.
Oh,
Yeah, and thinking about that, to our talk, is that may be why my liver is in the high amounts because of hepatitis that does attack the liver, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken, right?
Have you always had high liver
I
enzymes?
it's never really I've never really seen that, to tell you the
Mhm.
truth. So I'm just kind of thinking maybe I have.
Well, it definitely, I mean, our liver is one of the organs that can regenerate and kind of fix itself. Some of our organs in our body, especially like our brain and our heart, if it's damaged, it doesn't always recover. There's certain
Yeah.
cells in your body that just cannot recover. But our liver is one that can pretty much regenerate. But I don't know. It's worth research to look at how much does it keep score from previous damages like that, and how much does our body like keep
Yeah.
forever, because um hepatitis is something that affects our liver,
Yeah.
primarily. And so it would be interesting to kind of look at that too, and just maybe you're more prone to it's very sensitive. And so
Yeah.
and like you could take the enzymes on a Tuesday and it could be completely different on a Friday. And so it's just a matter of like catching it when you do and seeing where it's at, and knowing the things
Exactly.
that you can do to nourish and support it. And so yeah, kind of diving more into, the topic and everything today, which we've kind of already talked about. I didn't really have so much of a leader spotlight, but just kind of sharing a little bit about, our family dynamic and stuff here. But the obvious things to prevent a cold is to wash your hands. I feel like that's something that most people know to do. Don't put your hands in your mouth or, touch your face, which is also, it's kind of was a hard thing for me for a long time to not do that. Um, get good sleep, eat good food, avoid touching people who are sick, like all of these obvious things, right? But if you start to feel yourself getting sick, like at that very early sign, these are some of the things that I have researched and that I have found to be really beneficial. Do you guys all know about the benefits of like jumping on a trampoline or a rebounder, things like that? Um, One of the primary reasons that I suggest jumping on a trampoline as soon as you start feeling sick is because your lymphatic system is what helps flush all of those cold and flu toxins out. And what can happen sometimes, if you've ever felt like your lymph nodes get inflamed, like in your armpits or things like that, or different areas, this just kind of helps move them out a little bit faster. And drink a ton of water. Now, when you're sick, it doesn't feel good to drink water. You want to make sure you're balancing it with, throw in a hydrate or something like that. But really got to flush that out because you want to get that lymphatic system to work properly as best as it can. So if you're jumping it around and not drinking water, it's not going to carry it the way that it should. And so there's other ways to kind of work through your lymphatic system. If you guys have one of those like jade rollers or those ice rollers that Isagenix had for a little while, or like the gua sha tools, something that's nice and cold, you can just move it through where your lymph systems are, your armpits, like there's lymph nodes everywhere. You can actually Google your lymphatic system. And what you want to do is you want to move everything towards your heart. And so if it's from your legs, you want to move it up. If it's from your arms, you want to move it up, you want to move it down, things like that. You can also do this with a dry brush. And so if you have one of those skin brushes and stuff, that just helps. It's just not quite as like aggressive because you're not pushing like you would on something cold. If you don't have any of the jade rollers, gua sha tools, or anything like that, like really you can find anything that's like nice and cool to touch, and just kind of, go in that motion. And it's as easy as just kind of Googling how to move that stuff around in your body. And so make sure that you are not drinking alcohol as soon as you start feeling sick. That is going to cause the sugar in the alcohols are going to go crazy with the inflammation that's going to happen in your body. So when you're sick, you get inflamed because your body is trying to get it out. And so alcohol is just adding stress to that injury. It, you know, a lot of the research and stuff says keep moving, keep your body moving. That doesn't mean go and, you know, run like crazy. It doesn't mean like getting out and doing any sort of crazy strenuous exercise. The best thing you can do is like go on a walk if it's warm out in the sun, or do something that's physical exercise, that's movement in your body in the sunlight. If you could do it next to a window or something like that. When people say things like, don't go outside with a wet head when it's cold out, you'll get sick. You're not more prone to catching a virus if your head is wet. But what it does do is it does kind of weaken your immune system a little bit, because it's so busy trying to keep your head warm. And that is where you lose a lot of your heat and things like that. So when it's kind of one of those old myths, those of us that grew up in Minnesota know what we're talking about. Cold states, don't go outside with a wet head, you'll catch a cold. It's not exactly how it works, but it is important to not go outside with a wet head, just because it can weaken your immune system and things like that. So keep moving, get enough sleep, avoid the alcohol, work on stress relieving mechanisms, things like that. There's benefits in things like tea because of the antioxidants, berries, antioxidants, things like that. Do you need to go and eat, 17 oranges in a row? Not necessarily. Oranges actually aren't always the best source of vitamin C. They're good for you. They're not bad. Strawberries actually have more vitamin C than oranges do. But besides vitamin C, the other vitamins that we always recommend are zinc. So that can be found in a lot of fruits and vegetables as well. You don't have to go out and buy a supplement with zinc in it. It is actually, there's 25% of our daily zinc in a shake, and 50% of our zinc is in our Isagenix essentials. And also our collagen has 27% of our daily zinc as well, just as a fun fact. And then for vitamin C, our essentials vitamins have 100% of our vitamin C. Our collagen has 56% of our daily vitamin C, and a shake has 25% of our vitamin C's. So can you overdose on zinc, vitamin C, and the other vitamins? Absolutely. If you are also taking like the airborne vitamin C or a vitamin C supplement or anything like that, you can absolutely overdo it. So because I have downtime and stuff like that on the ship, the zinc immune spray is also a great choice as well. I found that it had a weird taste. Some people like it. They were giving it out at one of the events, and so we gave it a try. And but I recommend it every once in a while, just kind of going through and seeing where you're at with some of these vitamins on your daily intake. So sitting down with your Ionix. Ionix has 65% of our daily zinc as well. On the Ionix label, it does not say percentage wise, it only says milligrams. So I had to convert it a little bit. Ionix also has niacin, B6, folate, of course, B12, and Isoflush has magnesium. It has almost your entire daily need of magnesium, which is another vitamin to take when you're sick. And finally, vitamin D is really important. Now, I'll take just a minute to wrap up talking about vitamin D, and then we can move on to our IsoImmune, because I think that's really fascinating, because you would think that our immune shake booster has zinc and vitamin C and things like that. It does not. So vitamin D is actually broken up into a couple of different types of vitamin D. When we think about the vitamin D that we get from the sunlight, you can be somebody who works outside all day in the sunlight and you may not absorb it. And so somebody like me who has very fair skin, if I go outside for a few minutes, I might sunburn. That doesn't mean that I got enough vitamin D. I actually have to take a supplement because I've been on the low normal for so long. Our products have 100% vitamin D in our essentials and 25% in a shake. And so that again also does not mean that you are absorbing it. And so with all of our vitamins that we get with Isagenix, like I know Sarah and I had this conversation one time where it's like, how do you know if you're getting too much of something? You can Google and look at, what does overdose of vitamin C look like? it's going to say stuff like you're in a coma. It's going to say stuff like a seizure or a heart attack, things like that. That is how you know if you're getting too much. Most of our bodies is going to flush it through. There are some things that aren't quite that severe. Like if you look at your nails, you can see if you're deficient, if your hair's falling out, if you have certain skin things. Actually, my dermatologist warned me the other day about taking too much biotin. And our Isagenix Essentials has 250% of our daily biotin. And then our collagen has 100% of our daily biotin. And our shakes has 25% of our daily biotin. So I'm at least getting 375% of our daily biotin. So I'm like, I did Google what happens if you have too much biotin. And there's nothing that I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally happening to me. Because our bodies absorb it and then our bodies excrete it. And so what's kind of important to recognize is that you are taking it all throughout the day. And so I'm actually going to move my essentials to more midday, which is just something that I thought would be smart to do. And I think I might actually start taking my collagen at night, but you guys do whatever works for you. And so just because you're taking a whole lot of something doesn't mean that it's bad. There once was a time where I would see something on Pinterest about a supplement and I'd run out and buy it. Or, you know, you'd be sitting there in GNC and you're like, oh, let me just take this because it says that it can help with whatever. And don't ever recommend that. Like, now that we have so much more access to information and everything that I know, like there's so much more that we can do to give ourselves a better favor. So let me pull over our immune shake booster here. So like I said, this is not something that has like vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, things like that. This actually has a really unique blend of mushrooms and something called Well Immune, which is beta glucans and reishi, poria, maitake mushrooms. Basically, these have been found to help boost your immune system and your body's ability to ward off and work through things from a more natural food source versus you know, just putting in the vitamins and things like that. And so it is something you can just put powder into your shake, or you can use it to thicken any sort of liquid. And so it has no flavor. You could take 2 scoops a day if you want to. You can give it to kids. And yeah, I've been using it out for a while. It was just something that like I didn't quite want to put into my daily order for a long time because I was like, you know, I order so much other stuff, like it's not a big deal. But when we were getting sick a lot, I was finally like, let's just go ahead and do this. So does anybody else take this? Anybody else feel any different when you have it, or any other comments, or anybody you know that takes it?
I do use it. I do actually need to order more because I've run out now. But you just reminded me, like, I don't like mushrooms. And I suppose this is a good way of getting those benefits from mushrooms because I know that they're super good for you.
Mhm.
So I need to put that on my next auto ship for sure.
Yeah. It's not very expensive either. It's pretty good.
I see that.
So let's move on. Kind of an easy one to talk about, nothing too crazy. And so, like I said, tonight in our call, we're going to have a special guest that's going to come on and share his story, his leader spotlight, and talk about today's topic as well. So we've obviously recorded this one. We'll record that one too. So if you do want to come back or watch that recording, but really what I am going to assign this week is to pick one, if not all 3 or 4 of the vitamins that are good for your immune health, which is vitamin C, vitamin D, and then zinc, and we'll throw in magnesium. Magnesium is best to take at night. And if you're taking Isoflush, then that's easy. If you take 2 Isoflush, then you're already good on your daily amount of magnesium. But I want you to really look at how much are you taking of vitamin C, vitamin D, and your zinc. And so between the different Isagenix products, the different other things that you may be taking, and really keeping an eye out for the natural foods and drinks that you are taking every day too. Like Sarah shared in the comments about her sister-in-law overate carrots and she started to turn orange. There's actually, fun fact, not specifically related to this, but if you wanted to naturally protect your skin from the sun, eat a
Yeah.
lot of orange stuff. So sweet potatoes, carrots, anything oranges, anything that is orange, it will actually give you an orange hue if you eat too much, or not too much. I don't want to say too much, if you eat a lot. And so that can actually help you with your sun protection as well. I don't know if it prevents skin cancer, but I do know that it can help with sunburn and things like that too. So random things you learn and find out. So check out and see where you're at with your vitamins. Does anybody have any closing thoughts before I turn off the recording? Cold and flu. We're almost out of our season. It ends in March. All right. Thanks for watching.